Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And James Patterson, you know, world-renowned author, the guy who writes every damn book in Walmart. He says white writers aren't getting work in Hollywood or in publishing due to racism.
Well, that's because he's an old white man.
Yeah, so let's talk about this, because this is the second time in a week that there's been a story like this, where James Patterson was accusing Hollywood and now the mainstream publishing industry of being racist, and Christopher Eccleston said basically the same thing a couple days ago. He said that middle-aged white guys are not welcome.
Well, we've heard this from people in Hollywood too, that there are a lot of guys out there that they know they're not going to get work.
Yeah, once you get to a certain age, or
it doesn't even matter about age half the time.
Well, look at Chris Pratt. Why are they trying so hard to cancel Chris Pratt?
Mm-hmm.
Because he is a successful, straight, white dude
who goes to the same church a lot of people they like go to.
Yeah.
Or went to. He doesn't think he even goes there now.
I don't think he goes to that
They
church,
went there. The people they like, that they're acceptable to them. A lot of them went to that church too.
Yeah. Look at Top Gun. Look how well Top Gun did. Again, we've got, Tom Cruise, who's what, like 59, 60 years old now.
I love how they keep saying it's about toxic masculinity, and it's like, no, it isn't. Did you watch the movie? That's not what it's about at all.
I didn't. You did.
Trust me, that's not what it's about.
All right. So we're gonna talk about this, because I think we're gonna see more of this as people get sick of this shit and they start pushing back, and we'll give you some anecdotes about our own experiences in publishing, because I do agree that this started happening probably 5-8 years ago, that it was more important what kind of person you were than what the book was.
Yeah.
So anyway, before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. Over 270,000 subs.
Woo-hoo.
Thank you for the support. Greatly appreciated. We do talk about Hollywood. We talk about the publishing industry. I don't think we've ever talked about James Patterson, but he writes like every damn book, or he gives you the impression he writes every damn book.
He gives you the impression he does, which is kind of, I do think that's a little weird, but okay.
James Patterson presents a book written by somebody else with James Patterson's name big at the top.
That's what they do, which I think that in itself is kind of shit, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah, so Twitter's got hot takes, but I don't disagree with him. I really don't, because we've seen a lot of this, we've covered it, and the thing is you're not going to have a lot of people who have been ousted from Hollywood coming out in droves because they're secretly hoping they're going to get back into the club, and it's not going to happen. Patterson says white writers aren't getting work due to racism. Writers who look like James Patterson are having a tough go of it, the 75-year-old author has claimed. Now, he is worth like $20 kajillion.
Yeah, I'm like, the dude doesn't need to sell any more books, honestly.
And he was a marketing guy. I don't think people realize that. James Patterson, this is why I think he's so successful. He worked for an ad agency, and he knew that he could do a better job selling his books than the publisher was going to do. And he went and bought like his own commercials and all this other stuff.
We've told you guys that before. A lot of times you have to check your deals because your deals might not cover promotion.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking to the Sunday Times this weekend, the crime novelist said that white older male writers aren't getting hired for writing gigs in film, theater, TV, or publishing right now, claiming the phenomenon is just another form of racism.
Well, if you're discriminating people based on their race, then it's racism.
Yeah, if it's gender or race or orientation or whatever, and it doesn't matter that, historically there have been a lot more people maybe of a certain race, gender, sexual orientation, you're still saying you're not welcome because of that. Again, I think that there should be more chairs brought up to the table. You don't need to kick the legs out from underneath somebody else's seat. What's that all about? Can you get a job? Yeah. Is it harder? Yes. It's even harder for older writers. You don't meet many 52-year-old white males, he insisted, in the industry. You meet lots of them. They're just not working in the industry. Patterson has sold more than 450 million books across 20 or so titles during his nearly 30-year career. Talking about, Alex Cross and all these other books he's done.
Here's the thing. I think it shouldn't matter what gender or race you are. If you have a good book, it should be published. I mean, and that goes across, the board for everyone. I think if you're a Asian woman, you have a great book, then you should be published. So just as much as I think if you're a James Patterson and you have a good book, you should be published.
Yeah.
I don't think it should matter based on those things. But sadly, I'm going to tell you that at least that we ran into it, that it did.
Yeah, so let's talk about that because mostly he's trying to pimp his autobiography.
Yeah, especially he's just trying to leverage it, I think, a little bit. And I don't agree with everything James Patterson says. I also think it's kind of shit that he kind of takes credit for the work of other writers by his name being on the books, and I really don't think that's cool. But then if other people write the books, that's how the way they're going to get a big book deal and sell a lot of books because his name's on it.
Yeah, so a lot of now here's the thing: he does YA, he does middle grade books. Well, he doesn't do them. I think.
No, I don't think he does. That's the thing.
Other people. Now, this person said that Patterson launched a children's imprint that published many diverse works. Then, up and decided one day it would only publish his own work. This whole white authors are suffering thing comes after I want to profit off diversity thing. That might have been his publisher even.
Yeah. I mean, I think like I get mad when I see companies, just trying to profit and cash in on things like Pride Month, for example. And they're just trying to cash in. I think that's kind of shit.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Roxanne Gay, James Patterson of all people, write your own books, pal. Don't disagree with that. But that being said, yeah, is it harder for somebody, especially like, we talk about publishing, we talk about the comic book industry, and the reason that the mainstream comic book industry is the way that it is right now is because mainstream publishing has bled off into that, and it's all become intermingled. It used to be that the comic book industry was the comic book industry, and then other publishers would do graphic novels or whatever, and now you literally have to be the package. You have to be a certain kind of person, and it changes year to year. Like, it used to be enough just to be gay.
For a while there, it was like if you were like a lesbian, mostly. I mean, they say diversity, but they meant lesbians.
Right.
I mean, let's be honest.
That was that year's flavor, right? And then it changed to people of color, and then it was like, okay, now if you're gay, a person of color, well, that's not enough. Now you have to be
trans.
Now you have to be trans or pansexual. Now you have to be like LGBTQ plus ultra, to get a gig. And I mean, again, it's just kind of whatever they feel that year is what the market is looking for.
It's not even the market. It's what they can use to leverage you and to basically cash in on your identity, which is kind of shit.
By the market, I mean the people who buy the books. Now, here's the thing about the publishing industry and how gatekept it actually is. It is, agents and publishers and the bookstores, they are all kind of like in collusion about, which books get through. And especially like we've talked about before with graphic novels. I mean, there might only be 12 YA graphic novels published across, Scholastic and First Second and stuff like that. And they all decide, well, this year's flavor is
Well, not just
this,
that. They have their buddies who identify the way they like, and then they make sure that even if they don't earn out and they're not making money, they still get a book deal. So they have 12 open spots. You can get maybe 5 actually come open to new people. So it's already very incestuous to begin with and hard to get in for anybody new. And then, they do that too on the new stuff.
And it's all gatekept. It's all the New York Times bestseller list. We've talked about.
Well, I was going to bring that up actually when I saw this. When we talked about the one person cheating it, there was a thing. They didn't cheat it. Well, how it's cheated? The whole thing's cheated. It's like there's certain stores that will, the books there count for the New York Times bestseller list. If you know which stores they are, you could technically go in. They'll tell you, take $26,000, go buy a bunch of your books. Publishers do all the time. Why do you think Ollie's and places like that have so many of these books sometimes? And they go to do it to get it bumped up on the list. Well, publishers are usually the one that does it. Well, one chick went and did it on her own, and she beat out somebody else on the bestseller list. And if you remember correctly, the meltdown was about how dare she do that because the person was number one was a black woman.
Yeah, that was a big thing a couple of years ago. And the YA scene is very vicious. I mean, I'm going to be upfront. Like, you will never find more authors. I mean, you think
Richard, I'm a scum and villain.
The YA scene is incredibly incestuous and it's incredibly backbiting. I mean, there are people that have like canceled themselves. And there was a woman, she's like, I don't think I have a right to write about these kinds of characters or whatever. So she literally killed her own publishing deal. Something she worked years to get because she was afraid of the backlash from YA wannabe author Twitter.
Because how dare you? But yeah, this girl did the same thing that the publishers do. Exact same thing. Followed the exact same plan they do. And then when she got on the list, they all had a hissy and were screaming because she beat number one. She's number one now, and she beat the black woman who was at number one. And because the woman was black and a minority, she should be number one. That's what they were yelling about.
Yeah.
I'm like, the whole thing is a scam.
Yeah, so here's the thing. I mean, this is he got in 30 years ago. This is after he kind of sort of retired from advertising. If James Patterson waited his turn, he wouldn't have got a turn. I mean, I've read about how he got into selling books and how he became his own biggest spokesperson and all of that. And if he'd waited a turn, he wouldn't have gotten it. And it's kind of like that now, I think, with crowdfunding and Kindle and doing end runs around the establishment.
Right.
The only way you're going to break out, especially if your identity is working against you, the only way you're going to break out is to sell direct to consumer and let them decide.
Well, I think we need to go back to giving deals to people who've earned the deals. Like, I think this whole idea that you get a deal, your book might not be as good, but you're the right kind of person. So you get a deal. It's just as shitty as you didn't get a deal because you're a certain type of person. Like, meaning like, if back like 40 years ago, oh, you're a woman and how dare you? You can't write this book. And they wouldn't give you a deal. Like, J.K. Rowling had to use initials so people thought it was a dude originally.
Yeah.
Not to bring her up because they'll have a shit fit. But they went from that to, if it doesn't matter, if you're not a certain type of person, you don't get a fair shake because we want to cash in on identity and push diversity and inclusion as our moneymaker. And that's kind of somehow shit because it's like, it's not even about the work being good or the person being good so much as it is, how can we manipulate and use you to make us more money because how you identify. And I think that's just insulting.
Yeah, and the thing is unfortunately what happens is, and it doesn't do anybody any favors. I think sometimes books are picked up that aren't that great because, I hate, and I'm not saying that, I'm not saying certain kinds of people can't write best-selling books. I'm saying sometimes that.
No, you're not wrong though.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not about, it's more about, what you identify as and what you look like than it is how good you can write.
Look at a lot of the stuff that gets picked up in graphic novels right now, and they don't even earn out. They don't earn out, but you're like, okay, then you look at the author and you're like, oh, okay. They're going to keep giving this person books because
they're a chick.
It's the moral thing to do.
And it's like,
but the books don't make money.
But what's really sad is they can win both ways because there are probably people out there that are amazing writers that identify the way they would like, and they don't even get a turn because they aren't friends with somebody. They can't get past the gate. Because there's already a bunch of spots eaten up by this person because they're BFFs with somebody and they have an agent and all this other stuff. And there are people that are better than them that should be the ones and they would sell and they're the right kind of person and we'd all love their work, never get a turn.
Yeah, and that's really unfortunate. I think right now the internet is a great equalizer because you don't have to go through.
That's why they don't like it.
Yeah, that's why they don't like it. I mean, there are people making significantly more money on Kindle and crowdfunding than they would ever make with a traditional publishing deal. Now, do you have the opportunity to get out there as much as you would? It depends. I mean, people with social media followings, large social media followings, are basically jumping to the head of the line, anymore. I mean, there are YouTubers out there that have zero interest in comics. They have licensed comics out there.
I was thinking the Minecraft books.
The Minecraft books, but even the FGTV family or whatever they do, the gaming family. You can't tell me that they wanted to break into comics their whole lives. Basically, the publisher said, hey, your channel's big. We want to do middle grade graphic novels. We'll give you some money for that. And they're out selling all these people that have spent all this time trying to break into comics.
Right.
So you can do an end run around the system. You don't need the system. James Patterson got to where he's at because he didn't play by the rules.
Right. And then we actually had an agent and played by the rules, got in there, and we were stalled out for doing it. We actually do better without them, which is why we advocate not doing that. Don't go through them because, one, there's maybe 5 openings and they're going to give it to their friends anyway or get their friends in, which they do all the time. We know people that have kissed ass so hard that they get themselves in after 10 years and their stuff isn't good enough and they shouldn't be there. But because, they kissed ass or they're the right kind of person, they get in there. So it's never going to be a fair litmus test of what's good. The New York Times bestseller list is not a fair litmus test of what's actually good. It's all a scam and all a joke. But I mean, James Patterson, I'm not trying to be a dick, but James Patterson really is the last person to get up there and be like, woe is me. I mean,
dude's worth $1 billion.
I know. I mean, I can't disagree with the comments because they're I get the sentiment, and I'm not saying he's wrong because I've seen it personally, and I don't think it should be judged by who you are at all, by how your work is. But it kind of undermines a point when it's James Patterson.
But look at
Wah, boo-hoo.
Look at the guy on Kickstarter, and I forget his name off the top of my head. Science fiction writer.
Oh yes. They were so mad about that.
They were so pissed about that too. The guy made like $25 million on Kickstarter for science fiction books, and again, he just puts out solid work. But he has a history of sales, you know, and he was able to do an end run.
He writes things people like.
Yeah, and that's the secret. It doesn't matter what kind of person you are, what your skin color is, what your sexual orientation is. Write stuff that people like. Write stuff that connects with a lot of people. Even outside of your own demographic, you have to write stories that connects with it, are fundamentally human, because you need more people than just your kinds of people, or whatever that kinds is a straight white guy or whatever. You need everybody to like your stories.
Right.
Because that's how you get the sales. A lot of people, you can dunk on James Patterson, but a shit ton of people buy his books. So, and they've been for decades. So he's got to have something going for him. We're gonna wrap it up.
Yep.
Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We'll talk later.
Bye.
Now he's just tasty, delicious, rotten flesh meat, which I can consume. Don't read into it too much.
Just like our museum, the cafe's open and brewster is eager to serve. I don't think this was in the show. Run, 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 run. Oh, you got splatted. Oh, she was begging and you kicked her in the face.
I don't care.
Hey guys, Squid King here, and today we're in a—
Not girl boss, not girl boss at all. She is not a material girl.
She is not. Oh, it's Christmas time here in your mom. Nobody wants to join your mom.
What?
Like I can't even cook kid cuisine right. I would last about 2 minutes with Gordon Ramsay.
What? Where is he?
He's hiding. He's hiding from you.
Better.
Oh my God, you got the axe.
Walker, does this look like Steven Universe? Let me punch him! Well, I'm just here for the wax. Right where you belong.
Get in the dirt.
Well, that was a combination of events I probably shouldn't have put together. Anyways, let's open this bottle too.
Chica Pinata. Is that official?
Oh, no.
There's a bootleg.
Hello. I'm sorry.
Hey guys, it's Diamond Tool.
Let's make a farm.
Like and subscribe and buy my merch.
I mean, while you're here, you guys should like really like and subscribe and buy our merch, all of which we have.
That is true. You can't run them carrying trash. You can get away with one F-bomb per PG-13 movie.
I wish I'd known that sooner.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to wrap this effer up.
Yes.